Hello and welcome to the special edition of Footcast Social. We've had legendary football players. Last week you saw Nadia Nadeem from Denmark. And today we have a very big name from our Indian women's football team. Aditi, welcome to our show.
Thanks. Thank you for having me on the show.
Aditi, we'll straight away deep dive into our first question about how world has changed around women's football for good in the last 12 months for India and abroad. Can you just recap and let's take it on from there?
Yeah, I think in the last couple of years, especially after COVID and how things have been a little up and down with all over the world with football and especially in women's football, there's a lot of it's a growing sport. So there were a lot of challenges that women's football had to face all over the world. But thankfully for us in India, we had an important tournament, Asia Cup in January, which we were preparing for. And during the COVID also, we managed to get together and keep working and keep developing because I think women's football right now in India is at a very good stage of progress that we are making. And we've been doing that for the past few years. So while we were preparing for this, we went to Brazil to play a friendly match, which is a huge thing because we would have never heard that, or I never even imagined that could be possible. But in my playing career, that we would travel all the way to Brazil to play the friendly match against a senior Brazilian team where you have legendary names like Marta. So that amazing experience, of course, things didn't go our way during the Asia Cup. Very unfortunate event, but we were very, very confident about our preparation and about our journey in the Asia Cup. We were very hopeful that we would we would qualify for the World Cup. But unfortunately, that could not happen for, like I said, for many reasons. But I really hope that we can continue this journey that we are in, the women's football, and only grow from here. We've recently heard news of Manisha Kalyan signing for Poland ladies who will be playing a Champions League, which is a huge thing for football in general, not just women's football, because she'll become the first player to play a Champions League match. So, it's very positive and great things to know and to hear about women's football. And I'm very confident that the Indian football has a very bright future.
What about your matches against Brazil and Sweden? We've spoken about the Latin American thing. How about Sweden and the Venezuelan and the
US? That was also again an exposure tour that we played, a tournament where we played against, it was an under 23 tournament where Sweden under 23 and USA under 23 had come, and we played against them. Obviously the level you can see that in the Euros also that is happening right now, women's Euros. And of course, the same with the Sweden, and which are world number 1 and number 2 countries in the world for women's football. So obviously the under 23 level was also really good for us to be competing at, because considering Indian women's football is at a growing stage and we're still developing. So these kind of important matches gave us a lot of confidence. Of course, we conceded in the last minute. I was really happy with my performance. We conceded in a last minute of the game, 1-0 we lost against Sweden. And against USA, we lost 4-0. But there were, I think 5 or 7 players from our under 19 and under 17 team were part of our squad. So it was a great exposure for them. And these are very important steps as we grow in the sport.
Aditi, you've been a junior, you've come through the ranks. What is the mindset of a player when he's just under 19 and he sees all the big girls and the big ladies smashing goals and playing aggressive? So how does it help them?
It also helps you to also understand the level. As a player, if you're playing those kind of matches, you know the level of the level that is needed for us to be at to compete at international level. And when you see them smashing goals, it obviously motivates them. It gives them that encouragement that you need from within, that fire from within, that's where I want to reach. That's the level that I want to be at. And that's how you ignite that kind of passion and hard work towards developing and growing as a player.
You're the Delhi girl. Did you dream when you were in your school, did you dream that one day you're going to become and play the international levels and travel all across the world?
Never. Even I never even knew. Initially, I didn't even know there was a women's football team, Indian women's football team when I started. I just purely out of passion, I continued my journey in football, trying to find my own way. And because for me, I think there wasn't any role model or someone that I could look up to, and say that that's the kind of that's the person, or that's what I want to be. No one had gone to Europe. No woman had gone to Europe and played there, or had thought of having a career in football and trying to, do more than be just a player and trying to contribute to the community. So it's been a tough journey. It's been a very hard and challenging one, but I'm really happy that these kind of opportunities are now coming to the youngsters. And that is the difference that I see. These girls, when I was playing, I didn't have someone who could make that kind of, club transfer, or think of offering players to the clubs abroad. And these things, the professionalism is coming into India, and it's going to only get better and better.
So we spoke about your journey from a toddler to an international player. How about the journey from the Delhi Metros to the West Ham and the local tubes out there? Just take us through that.
Right. So I was very passionate at undergraduate level. I was very passionate about sports, and I was already playing for India. And so when I was playing, I was doing my BCom honors from Delhi University, and there was I had an exposure through the Delhi University to New Zealand, where I learned that, within the sports industry, there are also a lot of courses that I could do. So I thought sports management is something that I'm really interested. So I went to Loughborough in the UK to study sports management. And I was playing for the university. One of the main criteria of me going to UK was that I should be able to play as well while I study. I also wanted to compete, and the university team, the England structure, and the way of the opportunities that are there for even the university students are a lot. So you, every weekend and on Wednesdays, you play leagues throughout the year. And that's how I improved at that level. I kept improving, and that's how the switch with West Ham also happened. I looked for opportunities in London where I could play, because I then got an internship at Decathlon London. So I was working and I was studying, and I was playing for West Ham, which was a tough journey again. West Ham was a semi-professional club, so I also had to play. I also had to work, and then we had our evening sessions for West Ham. So again, like I said, the journey hasn't been easy. Everything I had to figure out on my own.
Aditi, we spoke about West Ham. It looks very nice that a student and a player goes from India and plays abroad.
Right.
But nobody knows the blood, sweat, tears, actual tears, and the homesickness that one has to follow, and also do multitasking and be time management. Just take us through the ordeal that you had to go through in terms of managing.
I think I'll share an experience, basically, because I was so it's a semi-professional club. So you don't get it's not a professional one, because I was on a student visa. I could not play professionally. So I had to work. So I was working from 9 to 5 during the day at Decathlon, trying to make some money and try to save as much, because I also had to pay the rent, the grocery everyday expenses as well. So I bought a second-hand cycle, which was for £100. And I used to cycle to work, cycle back, just to save a little bit money on the bus and the train travel. And then even at evening sessions, once I'm back from the office and I have to go to the sessions, West Ham sessions, I used to cycle halfway to work, because it was in the outskirts of London. Then because I can save at least the half of the fare. So these kind of challenges were the reality that
What about the food, the home cooked food that you missed?
I missed that so much. My go-to meal was bread and eggs, because I didn't have a lot of time to cook. So that was my go-to meal. But I missed my home food and the comfort that you get at home. It's very different.
We've spoken about your West Ham, your England, your studies at the Loughborough. How about that journey now turning from West Ham to Gokulam?
Yeah, so once I came back from West Ham, I had an ACL injury. So I had to go through rehabs, which took away about a year of my career. And I continued to, and it was the good thing was there was professionalism happening. The IWL started in Indian football, which brought in a club like I-League club like a Gokulam, who put in a women's team, and it was a great opportunity for me to, grow in the Indian system as well, the Indian professionalism, be a part of a major club that wants to invest in women's football. And that journey has been phenomenal, and I'm so great that every year the IWL is also improving and increasing, getting better. There are more clubs. There are two more clubs, ISL clubs, who are going to put in the women's team the next season of IWL. So it's great to be having those kind of opportunities. And Gokulam again it was a big step for me in my professional journey as a professional footballer.
We spoke about your journey. We spoke about how the professional way women's football is going. You also spoke about the injury, the ACL tear.
Right. Mm-hmm.
When things are happening so fast, so soon, how do you cope up by not being in the action and not being in the game?
So that phase, I think, was very important because as an athlete, it is a very dark phase where you can't do much. Obviously, you can't play the sport that you love. And of course, and you are always doubtful whether you'll be able to make it back at the same level, what is going to be the future of my playing career. So while all of that, so I realized that it's very important for me to divert all of this thought and energy into something positive, so that I can get invested in something that, I can be happy at. So while had studied sports management, I came up with this idea of she kicks, considering all the gaps that I had seen in my playing career. I thought I could develop maybe an offer a platform to other girls and make their journey in women's football a little bit easier. So that is when I came up with the idea of She Kicks and started working on it.
Just explain a little bit more. What does She Kicks do, and how does it help an upcoming football player?
So the idea is basically that we want more and more girls to play football, because from my own experience, I have seen that in our society, women are not offered a lot of opportunities, a lot of choices. Even if they want to, there are a lot of challenges that they face from the society, and that takes courage, and that takes strength to fight against and to have a voice of your own. And I feel sports and football in particular, from my own experience, I can say that it makes you stronger because it is a physical sport. It is a contact sport. It pushes beyond your boundaries. You have to fight on with the girls, go through that emotions as a team. When you win the matches, when you lose the matches, have the strength to come back. Those are the kind of life skills that I feel can be developed through football, and I want more girls to experience that. So with this, I've registered a foundation through which we want to work. We are working with the underprivileged girls, trying to increase the participation at the grassroots level, at the community level, but also give them an opportunity for talented girls to then play the IWL as well. So we've also registered a club. We're playing the Delhi League with this group of girls of 30 players that we've been training for the past 1 month. And we want to play the Delhi League because that is an important platform for these girls to grow. Again, these matches conducted by the state association is important for them to be a part of. So that is the structure that we've basically worked, and hope that we can give them this experience of playing the Delhi League.
You've got so many special moments in your playing career. Do you think getting the 50th cap was a very special case for you?
Yes, of course, representing the country and being able to help your teammates, your team, the country is a very unique responsibility and honor. And I'm very fortunate that I've been able to continue my journey in the Indian football and play at that level for 50 matches, but also over 12 years I've been representing the country. So it's been a great experience, a great journey, which it has been very, very unique to me. I'm sure the journey that I have had, no one else has had, and that puts me in a very unique position, I think, and that is why it makes me want to do more for Indian football and Indian women's football.
your most favorite moment in your playing career that you remember, that you cherish?
Definitely against Brazil, but also a nice recent match against Sweden was also, as a player, as someone, as a goalkeeper, you are able to contribute and pull your weight with for the team is something that is always very special. And against tough opponents like Brazil and Sweden, will always be a unique and most special moments for me. Of course, we've had some amazing memories of winning championships and a lot of other matches, but these two will be the most special to me.
So, in a special moment, who's your partner in crime when you
Yeah.
talk about it?
I am very close to our to Asha Lata from the team. So we've obviously shared a lot of memories together with the national team, with Gokulam recently, and she's the center back. So for a goalkeeper, center back support is very very important. So I think she's been a partner in all of my journey so far.
What about the rough moments, especially when your defenders make that faux pass and the ball goes out?
It's
Is there
always the defender's mistake.
so how do you deal with that? Are you very aggressive? Are you very
Yeah.
vocal, or are you vocal in Hindi and only English? Or how do you?
So I am quite vocal, but I think that is also a maturity that I feel has come in my game. Earlier, I used to be very vocal and obviously very aggressive, but as matured as a person as well as a goalkeeper, I feel now obviously there are some moments where I have to be vocal and I have to be more demanding of my defenders or my teammates, but I am more controlled in that sense now a little bit.
There is a conversation going on social media that you are a bit of a bully and a tyrant as well. Is that true?
Only on the field. I think that's how goalkeepers have to be. I think why do people say that they are a little unique? Goalkeepers are unique because that's what the position demands. The position demands you to be that assertive and demand more from your players, because ultimately we have to also work with the team, and we're doing it for the team, right? So I think that is probably the quality or the personality that I've made on pitch.
So, how many languages do you speak and get angry in?
Hindi and English only. And I've learned a few words in Manipuri also, but that is only for special occasions and
So that
maybe
is
to myself.
only for your defenders and other
Yeah.
players. We move on to the final part. How do you think is the Indian environment for women's football? You've seen women's cricket grow in the last 5 years,
Right.
7 years, 10 years. Women's football is also going in that direction.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like we've mentioned, that it's growing. The IWL is becoming more professional. There are more opportunities of having those exposures abroad, having those stints of seasons abroad. That is also a very important thing, and for development of the players, because I had that experience with West Ham, and I know how much it changed my game after that experience. So a lot of great things happening in Indian football. We've always believed that we will qualify for the World Cup sooner than probably the men's team. We want to believe that, and I think that's why the important thing here is the support of people, more awareness about women's football and what we are achieving. That is a key right now in the development of women's football, like it's being done in cricket.
Do you realize that you are a well-known name and not a well-known face in Indian football? Is that something that you miss out on, or do you rue about?
I didn't know about that. Why such a pretty face? What is wrong with that
I
face?
mean, in the sense people recognize the name more. I mean, the
Yeah,
visual appeal is
right.
less. Do you think that is one of the problems that
Yeah,
you
no, I
face?
think that is again a very important point here, that I think there is still that gap in terms of connecting with the people, really the players connecting with the fans and the supporters, where we can obviously well-known name could be within the industry, which can it is important for role models and for youngsters to be able to relate the name with the, the personality and the figure that you aspire to be. So it's very important for
Right.
role models to be able to have that connection with their, with the youngsters, to be able to help them and, provide that kind of encouragement.
Finally, you've been a great student, great ambassador of the game. You've led from the front. You've been a part of the professional setup also. Finally, what is this crowdfunding thing that you're doing, and how
Yes.
can one come up and help you in your cause?
Right. So I talked about the platform that we are trying to create with SheKicks, where we are working with the underprivileged girls at community level, but also offering them an elite platform where the talented players can then progress in their journey of playing perhaps professionally in IWL one day. So for us, we are basically doing a crowdfunding for the foundation to fund these underprivileged girls, their full years of coaching program, their nutrition, their travel expenses, because some of these girls come from Sonipat, Faridabad, and it's like 2 hour travel one way for these girls. So we're trying to cover and help them, support them as much as we can, and that is the reason we're doing the crowdfunding to get have spread the word, get some support of the people, and make the journey of these girls a little bit easier.
Aditi, you've been a great ambassador. We thank you and wish you best for your endeavors that you're doing for SheKicks. Thank you for joining on.
Thank you for having me. It was great to talk about women's football.
This is Sunil Yash Kalra signing off on Footcast Social. Keep watching NewsX for more news and updates. Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.